Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome back, Ella. Good job. Glad you can make it. As always, have a seat. I hope the drive wasn't too bad.
Actually, I took the bus today.
You took the bus?
Yeah, my car is in the shop.
Oh, wow.
So...
Everything alright with the car?
Well, it was in the shop. It's not my dad's. He's putting on new brake pads and grinding the rotors because I had it at the shop and they're like, oh, we're gonna charge you like $100 for labor and then it's like $80 per rotor per brake pad. I'm like, it's $20 per brake pad at AutoZone, so yeah, but no, yeah.
Isn't it funny how you can always find out online that things cost a lot cheaper than what they charge you?
Yeah.
And why do they charge you that much at all?
Because they can. They think that you don't know anything about cars.
Got you by the cojones.
I think honestly, I think car places are always like, oh, it's a girl. She doesn't know anything about cars, and she doesn't know how Google works. So, yeah.
You don't get that often, do you? People just assume something because you're a girl.
Yeah. It's awful. Yeah.
I wish I could tell you how that feels, but I'm not a girl, so no one's ever assumed that I don't know anything because I'm a girl.
Yeah.
I have had people assume something because I'm disabled, but never because I was the opposite gender.
Yeah. That's okay.
Like, where do you get besides, oh, she doesn't know anything about cars?
I don't know, there's just like gender stereotypes, you know? Like,
Not good at sports.
Like, oh yeah, you're not good at sports. I'm really good at soccer, and I play football with my little brother whenever he's home, and like, do tackle football. So, like, growing up, there was a stereotype of like, all the guys at our church would be like, oh no, we can't play tackle football with her because she's a girl. I'm like, I'm gonna tackle you, you know that, right? And they're like, no, we're not gonna tackle you. But they've learned eventually, so that was cool.
Alright. Well, last time you were here, I know we were talking about you have a very hefty school schedule, and you do excellent in school. But the reason you're doing that is because you don't want to feel like you are left out of anything, or that you don't regret anything. And we were also talking a little bit about the relationship you have with your brother. I know you're close with your younger brother, and I know you have a sister, but then the other brother that's close to you in age, that there's a little bit of a, not necessarily strife, but you guys just don't get along all the time.
Yeah, well, I have 2 older brothers, and then an older sister, and then my little brother is not biologically related, but so that's probably why we get along.
Is he adopted?
What?
Is he adopted?
No, we kind of like, neither of us grew up agreeing with our families, and he didn't have a big sister, and I didn't have a little brother, so like we didn't have like that relationship of big sister's watching out for you, little brother's gonna protect you, so we just got that from each other.
That's really nice.
Yeah. But yeah, my older brothers aren't like that. So yeah.
I wasn't always the nicest to my little brother either.
Yeah. Older siblings are jerks.
We have a bad rep, I do admit.
Stereotypes again.
Your older brother goes to school here, right? The one closest to you.
The one closest to me in age goes here, and then the other one graduated from here. So yeah.
What's he going for? The one that's still here. Is his name Peter?
Yeah. Last I heard, he said he's going. I believe he's still going for film here. But I know he was having issues with one of the film teachers, so I don't know if he like changed to individualized study for film or like I don't know. So last I heard, it was film with art, which is kind of weird that like film you have to like go through drawing 1, drawing 2, even though it's not like in order to be on films you don't have to be able to draw. So it's kind of weird.
But when you said last that you heard, you don't talk that often when you're here?
No.
When's the last?
What?
Good.
He lives in a different dorm. We don't have the same interests, so we don't really cross ever. So.
When's the last time you talked to him?
September. End of September, maybe?
Is that when you say that last time you checked he was still a film major? Does that mean as of September he was a film major, or has it been even longer?
As of last school year, he was a film major. And I haven't heard anything about his school since then, so
it's not like you haven't talked to him since last summer. It's just you haven't talked about his schooling.
Yeah. Well, we haven't talked since last September. Well, this September. And then last I heard that he was filmed was whenever I started last year, in last August. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you remember when you guys just didn't click for the first time by chance? I know when you've grown up with a brother for your whole life, you've always known each other. Yeah. But I don't know if you think of any actual event, like, he pushed me off the tree one time, and then we never really got along after that.
I don't think there was a specific thing. Like, our mom, whenever we, like, probably, like, I think probably I was 6 and he was 8. It was probably, like, whenever we started not being, like, friends, but my mom will always be like, you two were best friends when you were little, and I don't know where I went wrong, and we're just not really into, like,
the same stuff.
Like, we wouldn't be friends if we didn't know, like, we wouldn't, like, know each other if we weren't related, because we don't have those interests, like, like, I like film, and I worked on film as, it's called a grip, which is basically you do lighting and stuff. But he wants to, like, direct and stuff. So, like, we kind of have the same interest with film, but, like, he's not, so, I don't know. Just not really in the same stuff.
That happens. What about, just because your family, you can't choose who your family is. Like you said, you're going to be with Peter for the rest of your life because you're family. But if it wasn't for that connection, you guys don't have the same interests. You don't hang out with the same people. Your paths would never really cross. Do you get along with your other brother and sister?
No.
Is it different? Is it also differences in interest and whatnot?
Well, my dad's bagpipe teacher. And, like, his entire life's bagpipe. And my oldest brother is, like, all about, like, you know how, like, there's the, like, hierarchy of, like, how, like, siblings, depending on their age, will, like, relate to the parents. Like, the oldest is normally, like, the people pleaser and wants to do everything that the parents want them to do.
Yeah.
So he's, like, hardcore into bagpipes.
Okay.
And I am not. And when I was 12, I told my dad that I was not interested in bagpipes. And my dad took that kind of hard for a bit, but, like, my oldest brother was just like, you're a shame and you're dishonorable to the family and, like, all that, whatever. So he and I don't get along at all. So, and my sister's very opposite of me. So
sounds like a very, very diverse family dynamic.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
A girly sister, a more tomboy daughter. Your one brother who wants to please the family. Peter just falls to the wayside.
And then Peter is very much of the stereotypical younger brother of the older brother is perfect. So he's very, well, Sean must be right. So, I mean, it is what it is. So. Alright.
Well, let's go a little bit, switch topics. Let's switch focus. I want to talk a little bit more about you really pushing yourself hard. Do you have any updates on your schooling? Everything's still going well? I know it's really stressful. You're coming up to the end of your semester, I believe.
Yeah.
And you have how many classes this semester? 7 or 6?
I have 7 this semester.
Okay.
I don't know if I said in our last session that my next semester I was going to be taking 8 classes, and the 8th class was going to be 1 credit.
Yeah, you mentioned.
But it's basically a 4-credit class, but they have to split it. So that class, the teacher wouldn't let me get into because I'm taking my math next semester, and the math is a prerequisite. But whenever I talked to him before, he was like, yeah, I'll be able to, like, override you into that. And he, afterwards, whenever I wanted him to get override me in, he was like, I can't do that. So I just switched that class. So now I'm only taking a 3-credit class. So next semester is going to be pretty much the exact same as this semester. So.
And what's going to happen to that little add-on credit class?
Oh, it's interchangeable. So,
okay.
like, I think it's like with our core classes we have 7 cores, and I think it's the C4, the 4th core, that it's Psych 225 or Soc 333. The 225 is also, you have to take Psych 226 at the same time, which is the 1 credit. So I can take either those 4 credits or the 3 credits for Soc 333, and I'm going to take Soc 333 instead. So.
Alright. Well, that changes your plans a little bit, doesn't it?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Okay.
Like it changes which class I'd be taking, and then over the summer, over the summer, whenever I would have been taking for just general electives, I just have to take a psych elective, because taking the Psych 222, 225 would have counted as one of my psychs for my minors, but since I'm not taking that anymore, I just have to add a psych, which is fine, because I have electives anyways, so.
Alright, so the plan is still good.
Yeah, plan is still good.
Yeah, okay.
It changed like a little bit, but not really enough to like actually do anything, so still pretty good.
Alright. I want to do a little exercise with you. If you could, try to clear your mind, think of yourself a little bit here. The 3 words, as fast as you can think of it, don't take too much time to think. I want it to be kind of more of a natural flow. 3 values that are important to you.
Like, characteristics of...
3 things that are important, that make you who you are. 3 things that are important to you, just kind of, it doesn't have to be right. There's no right or wrong. Just if there's 3 words that summed up who you are as a person and how you feel as a human being.
Honesty, creativity, and faith.
All right, honesty.
Is that like?
Perfect.
Is that what you mean?
I just want to see. I just want to see how you're thinking. I want to see you put creativity, honesty first, and creativity and faith. So you're thinking what's on the inside of your actions. You're an honest person. You're a creative person. So you focus on you, the inside of you, internally. Then you said faith, which can be both internally, but it can also be external. So you're an honest person. That's good to know. What makes you an honest person? I know that's a strange question to ask, but why do you consider yourself honest?
I normally I'll tell the truth.
Oh, okay.
Like, if somebody asks me like something, like I normally won't like beat around the bush. I'll just tell them what I think about it.
Okay.
Or like, if there's like a discrepancy in something, I would just like tell the truth. That kind of goes with like character, I guess. Like, there's a like way to like conduct yourself honestly, if that makes sense. Like, rather than like, I don't know how I'm wording this. Like, your actions are like not conniving. Like, you're true to yourself and like honest about who you are, kind of. So
honesty doesn't have to mean that you tell your wife her butt looks big when she's wearing that dress. Honesty is a way of life. It's you being true to yourself. Nothing you do is fake. You're a very genuine person.
I hope.
Yeah.
I try to be.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's it. You can only try.
Yeah.
You can't do something that you're not capable of. Your best. Creativity. Why do you choose creativity?
I like creative things.
Do you?
Like, I like thinking of things more. Like, more so than like actually like doing something. I like thinking about how something would work. Like, whenever, like this is a story that my mom always tells, so I always tell it because she tells it, so I know that's like an actual like story that I didn't just make up. Is she, for Christmas, one year, she wanted, like, all of her jewelry was always, like, just, like, strewn on her dresser, and she didn't have any place to put it. So she's like, oh, I want a jewelry box. And I think it was, like, 10 or something, and I didn't have money when I was 10, because I didn't have a job, and my parents didn't give us allowances. So I took, we had, like, just, like, random pieces of wood, like, chopped up wood from, buzzsaws, and, like, because my dad was doing, like, molding and stuff, so we had, like, just blocks of wood, like, differently shaped, And then I glued and nailed it together, and I made like a super freaking awesome jewelry rack. So like there was a bit where she could put like her bracelets, and then there were like nails that she could hang rings on. There was a bit where you could put a necklace, and like I drew everything out exactly how it would like fit together beforehand. So like I got to make up like this thing that nobody else has because it's really like creative and original. So yeah, I like, if you've been on Pinterest.
I've known people to Pinterest, yes.
Yeah,
I myself am not a Pinterester.
There's a bit, DIY is do it yourself, and it just has like huge projects of like different stuff that you can do. So I like those.
Cool. And you chose faith. I'm glad you mentioned that because I've heard you mention church and Bible studies and youth group. There's a lot, you've mentioned that a few times now. So how important is faith to you in your life? Very.
Yeah. I don't think I'm as, like, we talked about it in Bible studies, like, where do you think you are? And, like, how close do you think you are to God? And I'm always at the point that, like, I don't think I'm where I could be, but I keep trying. So, like, I'm not okay where I'm at, but I'm okay with that, if that makes sense. Like, I'm okay not being okay with it. In that it, like, makes me want to be... Like, I'm okay that... Well, that doesn't sound right. I'm okay having the realization of I'm not where I want to be, but that makes me, like, want it more. So...
It also makes sense that you understand that you can go higher and
yeah.
you can do better, but you're okay at the level you're at.
Yeah.
That's accepting. Has faith always been important to you, or is it something that you more recently in your adult life turned towards?
Well, I grew up in the church, and then I had, like, a year and a half that it was like, well, I kind of just grew up with this, and this is, like, what my parents had me do, and, like, I kind of had a year that I was, like, kind of ambiguous about, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, so, like, during that time, I actually got to make it, like, more mine than my parents, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
And did you find after that time to search for yourself, are you still where you were when you were younger, or have you walked on a different path? Like, this is now what I want. You found a different kind of faith.
Well, it's the same religion. But, like, there were certain expectations and, like, yeah, I guess just, like, there were certain expectations of the denomination that my parents were at that I didn't understand and that weren't as important to me as, like, actually having a relationship with God. And, like, there's, like, the whole, you dress up for church, you stand, you kneel, you sit down, you stand, you kneel, you sit down.
Yeah.
And that's not really that important to me as much as, like, the community. Like, who you go to church with, like, how people support you, and, like, wherever you are. So, I think it's definitely different. It's probably grown a lot. In a good way.
Yeah.
So...
How did your family feel about you kind of walking down your own path in faith and spirituality?
My family doesn't really talk.
About anything?
No. Like, whenever... So, like, Christmas and Easter, we all still go to the same church. Because, like, I go to church up here at school, which is non-denominational. And then... Like, whenever we go home for Christmas breaks and stuff, we'll go to church, like, Christmas and Easter with my mom. Because my mom's, like, super into the whole, everyone gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning, goes to church on Easter, everybody stays up for the midnight service on Christmas, which is, like, it's okay. Because, like, we've been doing that. Like, I've been doing that for 21 years. So, like, I'm used to it by now.
Yeah.
But, like...
That's not your cup of tea?
Not really, because it's, like, it's super traditional. Like, I've had people come to my church and ask if I was Catholic, which, like, there's nothing wrong with being Catholic, but I'm not Catholic, and my parents aren't Catholic. It's, Anglican Episcopalian, so...
Never heard of that denomination.
Yeah, well, it's... Basically, it's a whole bunch of drama. They were Episcopalian, and then part of the Episcopal Church split from the Episcopal Church. Okay. And made friends with Anglicans, which is, like, whenever you hear WASP, like, white Anglo-Saxon, it's, like, the Anglo because Protestant. It's like, I don't know, we talked about it in history class. Like, one of the kings he wanted to divorce his wife, and the Catholic Church said no. So he made the Episcopal.
Made his own branch.
Yeah, and then the Episcopal Church split into Anglican and Episcopal, and then something, and I don't know. So, I don't know.
Alright.
I'm just good with the Bible.
And as long as it's okay with you and that's how you feel, that's where you need to be. They don't talk often though, but have they ever actually showed displeasure with your choice of faith?
Not really. I think my mom's like, it more matters to her that like we go to church rather than like where or like.
As long as you go, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Is now that your family is adult as well, brothers and sisters, do they have a strong faith in their life? You know.
My sister does. She still goes to the same church as my parents. I think my oldest brother goes because his wife goes. Because she was brought up Catholic, so she still goes, like, she's still Catholic, technically.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know about my other brother. Like, there's only really, like, one church near school, and he doesn't go there, so, I don't know. But, like I said, we don't really talk.
Well, I'm glad you've opened up and allowed me to see a little bit more about what makes you you. And I am a little intrigued about, I still find it's a little fascinating that you do have a brother that's so close in age with you that is this close in proximity to your life, and you guys don't talk that much. And in the future, I would like to, if that's okay with you, I'd like to go down that path a little bit more with you. And I have some techniques that we might be able to try next time. But I do remember you mentioned you came on the bus, and I believe the bus does leave in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
So if you're okay, we can wrap this one up for this week.
Awesome, thank you.
And then next time we meet, we'll go ahead and try a couple new things.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ella.
Cool.
Pleasure as always. Mm-hmm. Good job.
Thanks. Hi. Oh, it didn't stop.